Straight ahead on Oregon's News at 10, it is now considered the largest fire in the nation. We're on day 3 of the substation fire burning near the Dalles, and Oregon is a great place to go outdoors. There's so much to do, but Search and Rescue says there are still precautions to take in summer. Plus, your daily commute might be getting slower with different construction happening in the area. We take a look at the different projects happening in our area. Oregon's News at 10 starts right now.
You're watching Oregon's News at 10 on Oregon's Fox.
As the substation fire is now considered to be the #1 fire in the nation, we've received additional resources this afternoon. These team members comprise of a Pacific Northwest incident management team and include about 60 new folks to strengthen the operational forces to help with all aspects of the fire.
As the substation fire continues to grow to the north and south tonight, firefighters, farmers, and neighbors team up to protect their property. Good evening, and thank you for joining us for Oregon's News at 10. I'm Kristen Goodwillie. Tonight, the fire hasn't burned any more buildings, but it has taken one life. John Ruby died trying to keep the fire from getting to his neighbor's place. Investigators say the fire is suspicious. They're looking into it as arson. The fire did grow quite a bit overnight and throughout the day. Officials say most of that was to the south, but it also grew to the north, and it had a lot of people driving along Interstate 84 worried. The fire tried to make it across the Deschutes River to the Columbia, but a team of small planes and ground crews who set a backburn kept it under control. A group of nervous residents watched from across the river in Washington. It bothers them a lot that the fire may have been started on purpose and that the fire just keeps growing.
The world's full of idiots, unfortunately, and they don't just stick to one place. There's idiots all over. So if somebody dumps a cigarette out the window, I mean, you could see this stuff. I mean, this hill right here burned last year.
At this point, we don't have any night flights that are happening to get an exact border, but we do have, we're able to use some infrared to figure out where heat signatures are, to know where the greatest heat in the wildfire is.
The fire has burned more than 50,000 acres, much of it agricultural land and trees in the Deschutes National Forest. But it's big enough that federal money is now available to help put it out. 900 homes are under evacuation. It's time now for our first look at that forecast. Let's hand it over to meteorologist Travis Knutson to see what's ahead. Travis?
Well, the dry weather continues for the state of Oregon. Not the greatest news we have for areas around the Dalles, and temperatures there hot as well. Here's a look at the high temperatures we had across the state today. 82 degrees up at the Dalles. On the other side of the Cascades in the Willamette Valley, the Umpqua Valley, we had some low clouds that stuck with us for the majority of the day, keeping things from warming up as much. Those clouds return tomorrow morning as well, but they should burn off faster than they did today, which means that extra sunshine will help to warm us up a few extra degrees tomorrow. And winds, well, they'll be a bit gusty, which again is a big concern when we're talking about fires across the state, because those winds do help to spread fires around the region. But here's a look at our lows tonight. We'll make it into the low 50s for many spots. Tomorrow, warmer than we were today, and the warmer weather keeps on coming in. I'll tell you when 90s return. That's in my forecast minutes away. Kristen?
Thanks, Travis. Warm weather means hikers are flocking to trails around the Pacific Northwest, a fun activity that can quickly turn dangerous. Reporter Justina Quello spent the day with Linn County Search and Rescue. She shows us what you need before you hit the trail.
Kellen Morgan has hiked hundreds of miles on Oregon trails that are becoming increasingly crowded.
Definitely. With Instagram and social media, all these people go to these cool places and then tag them, and everybody thinks, oh, I can make it there.
That means trails are packed with people who haven't packed correctly.
You know, I've run into multiple people that are out of water, they're out of food, and they still have, 8 or 10 miles.
That's a mistake that could turn deadly, keeping Linn County Search and Rescue crews busier than ever before. Their calls for help have more than doubled since 2015, many of them for lost or injured hikers.
We went from about 80 calls to about 172 calls the next year.
Chase says safely getting back starts with what's on your back. He calls it the 10 essentials.
First aid, hydration, insulation, illumination, sun protection, tools, emergency shelter, fire starting tool, some kind of nutrition.
But the biggest mistake isn't what you forget to bring with you, it's what you forget to leave behind.
And that's a trip plan. So letting somebody responsible know where you're going, when you plan to be back, when they should call for help.
Lane County Search and Rescue needs people to join their ranks. This summer, hosting their first ever youth academy, recruiting teens as young as 14.
They do the same jobs that our adults do on real life-saving missions.
As I found out, there are some basic strength requirements.
Okay, so volunteers have to pass what's called a pack test. 2 miles carrying a 25-pound bag in 30 minutes, and that's harder than it looks.
Thankfully, dozens of people rise to the challenge as the need for their service rises as well.
Outdoor activities are inherently dangerous.
In Lane County, Justina Coelho reporting.
Lane County Search and Rescue is gearing up for their big push for recruits in the fall. Volunteers have to complete 130 hours of training. Details are on our website. We have a follow-up on the investigation into a fire that burned down a vacant building in Junction City. According to an affidavit obtained through Lane County Circuit Court, Junction City Police conducted a search of the building after the fire on July 9th. Police say they took several items as evidence, including gas cans and a propane tank. According to the affidavit, a Lane County fire marshal says the explosion in the building was suspicious and an accelerant was used. Junction City Fire Chief Brandon Nickel also told police he believes the fire was intentionally set. Chief Nichols says there was a gas can sitting in the middle of the room. According to the affidavit, police say the building was being remodeled. There were swastikas and racist wording painted on the vacant building. Nichols told police the paint smelled fresh. Police say they also responded last March after the owner, Timothy Devin Huntley, reported he found swastikas on the building. At the time, police say they also found a gasoline-soaked blanket on the west side of the building. The investigation is ongoing, and no suspect has been identified in this case. Police are still awaiting lab results and are not ruling out that the cause may be accidental. If you've been seeing a lot of orange on the roads lately, that's just the beginning. Even more highway construction starts tomorrow for the next several weekends. ODOT projects pick up on Beltline and Highway 126. Reporter Audrey Wheel breaks it all down for us.
The signs are up, the orange is out. Each weekend for the next 5 weekends, a different section of the Beltline and certain on and off ramps will close. About 1.5 miles at a time, from Roosevelt all the way to River Road. You'll still be able to get around, but both directions of traffic will travel on one side of the highway, while crews do work on the other side.
We're going to repave the road. We're going to replace all new striping, all new edge delineation, and reflective pavement markers. And when we're done on Monday morning and we reopen it to traffic, we're going to be done, and we're not going to have to go back there.
This section-by-section strategy is new for ODOT, getting everything done at once before moving on to the next section. It's safer for workers and more efficient.
We're able to get more work done over the weekend than we would during the week with traffic going by. So it's actually going to shorten the life of the project by about 3 weeks.
Weekend work ends August 20th, and the entire project should be done by October. It's not just Beltline you have to watch out for. Further west on Highway 126, a 2-year paving project starts Sunday. That goes from Cornerstone Drive in Veneta to Terry Street in Eugene.
We're doing little repairs and just areas where we've experienced problems in the past. And then in 3 weeks, the mainline paving will start.
For both projects, the managers say bear with them because in the end, it means safer, better roads. ODOT says drive slow. Remember, there will be delays, so plan ahead. And if you can, drive at a different time or take a different route. In Eugene, I'm Audrey Wheel reporting.
This weekend, crews will start at Roosevelt. The westbound ramps on Barger Drive will be closed. That goes from 9 p.m. Friday to 5 a.m. Monday. And for Oregon 126, work is Sundays through Thursdays from 7 p.m. to 6 a.m. We have everything you need to know each week on our website. Coming up on Oregon's News at 10, President Trump continues to reshape his comments from his meeting in Helsinki. We go to the White House, where President Trump also says he's inviting President Putin for a visit. That's after weather with Travis Knutson.
Clouds across the region for a good chunk of the day kept things quite a bit cooler than what was initially expected. Forecast high today was in the mid to upper 80s, and well, we were nowhere near that. And it was because of these clouds that showed up this morning. Now, the appearance of clouds was not unexpected, but what was unexpected was how thick these clouds are. And because of that, they stuck around for a few extra hours and did not burn away as early as expected. As a result, that late sunshine just didn't have enough time to warm things up. Because of that, temperatures for many spots today in the 70s. Now, as we move forward, parts of the state down here in gray may face some reduced air quality. The gray you see is an air quality advisory that starts tomorrow and basically continues until Saturday morning. Essentially, what it means is the air will not be moving around too much for this region, and because of wildfires burning in the area, we may take a hit in that air quality down to the south. But today, we have those clouds. As I mentioned, this is 10 a.m. looking at the visible satellite across the region. The white is the cloud cover, and eventually those clouds did lift away, but they were brought to us by a northerly wind across the state of Oregon. Winds outside right now are still primarily from the north, and what happened is the marine layer, which is just some moist air over the ocean, was able to funnel in along the Columbia River and then move its way into the Willamette Valley, down into the Umpqua Valley, and that is where those clouds came from today. It was expected. There was just more of them than thought, and so as a result we didn't warm up. Now it's this high pressure center out to our southwest and the storm system up to the north that is bringing us that northwesterly airflow, and because of that we will see those clouds return again tomorrow morning. And you can see in our model forecast here of the winds, the arrows, this is the wind direction, and the longer the arrow the stronger winds are. By 8 p.m. tomorrow, seeing some wind gusts around the region, but some of the breezy winds we face on Friday, and tomorrow will be a bit of a windy day, will actually help to clear out morning clouds a little bit sooner than what we saw today. Now, as far as temperatures go for the coast, another mid-60 degree day here. Yachats at about 63 degrees. Florence right around 67. South coast, a gray morning, blue skies for the afternoon. Highs getting close to that 70 degree mark for a couple of spots. A look at what's to come here. Mid-70s on the way as we get into next week. We do remain very, very dry. No opportunity for rain coming up for the next 7 days on the coast. The Umpqua Valley, warmer tomorrow than where we were today due to the fact the clouds we see should burn off faster than they did this morning. Here's a 7-day forecast. 90 degrees by Saturday, 94 on Monday. Next week will be toasty, but not as hot as what we've seen recently, though those temperatures, those mid-90s, are above average for the middle to late end of July. The Willamette Valley dealing with some low 80s tomorrow. We were in the upper 70s today, so we'll tack on a couple of degrees. Clouds start off our Friday, but they should burn away pretty quickly. Heading into Saturday, we'll see mid-80s there. The Relay for Life takes place Friday into Saturday. We'll be out there from noon on Friday to 10 a.m. on Saturday. Come say hello. Overnight lows Friday night should be in the low 50s. Cool, but not bad. 7-day forecast here. Plenty of sunshine on the way. We'll reach the 90s again on Sunday, and then they'll hang out with us for a little while with mid to low 90s a possibility, which is not as hot as what we dealt with, but definitely above average for this time of year. We'll be right back.
The White House is already preparing for round 2 with Vladimir Putin extending an invitation to the Russian president to come to Washington this fall. This comes as President Trump tries to reshape his comments on Russian meddling in the 2016 election. It's been 3 days since the historic summit between President Trump and Vladimir Putin, and still some of the president's top advisors don't know what was agreed to, including National Intelligence Director Dan Coats. Coats emphasized that Russia is still the most aggressive cyber enemy of the U.S.
Undeniable that the Russians are taking the lead on this.
Late Thursday, the Justice Department unveiled a new report on efforts to combat foreign meddling and said the Trump administration is now doing more than ever to confront cyber threats. House Republicans quashed a Democratic effort to subpoena the translator in President Trump's meeting with Putin. A duck boat capsized on a lake in Missouri, leaving at least 8 people dead and several others hospitalized. It happened Thursday on Table Rock Lake in Branson. 20 people were on the tourist boat when it capsized. Stone County Sheriff Doug Rader says a dive team is searching the lake for the missing passengers. He expects the efforts to continue through the night.
So this is going to be a all-night. Into tomorrow, we're still going to be working on this. Highway Patrol dive team is on their way here.
Investigators are looking into what caused the accident, but they say debris from an earlier storm could be a factor. Next on Oregon's News, the plans for the riverfront property project on the old eWeb property have been revealed. What inspired experts when creating the space? Eugene city officials have released 3 design concepts for the Riverfront Park project on the old eWeb property. Jessica Waite was at the meeting and has the story.
The most exciting meeting I've been to in a long time in my career.
A meeting to unveil the first set of design concepts for the Riverfront Park on the old eWeb property. These 3 designs, called Winding Paths, Urban Amphitheater, and River Terraces, inspired by the input from more than 1,700 people.
It's been exciting to then be able to take all these awesome expectations that people have about this space, like nature play and water play and, performance space and biking and walking and viewing the river.
The design team is led by Walker Macy and the City of Eugene Parks and Open Space Division. Originally, the Riverfront Park plan consisted of a 3-acre, somewhat linear strip along the river. But since the last public meeting, the city has been able to add another acre within the development.
It's a pretty large-scale park.
Chelsea McCann, principal with Walker Macy Landscape Architects, says the community's input inspired them to create a space with a foundation of inclusivity, flexibility, sustainability, culture and environment, and conserving animal habitat. Attendees weighed in on the designs and participated in a live audience poll. But people we spoke with seemed pleased with how inclusive the planning has been so far.
It's fun to kind of push back and forth, just see if you can integrate more than one, and I suspect that's where we'll wind up.
And that feedback becomes our inspiration and helps us guide the design, because our ultimate goal is to create a park that really is a reflection of the community of Eugene and who you are.
Proudfoot says people can choose certain details within each design they like.
All of that's going to be really helpful for us then to say, okay, these are the elements that people really care about. This is kind of the level of urban park people want, and then we'll be able to create a final design from there.
A final design scheduled to be reviewed in September. Reporting in Eugene, I'm Jessica Waite.
People have until August 10th to complete the survey on the 3 park designs. City officials say park construction is expected to begin in 2020. We're going to take a short break. Stay with us. Finally tonight, oh man, a giant statue of Jeff Goldblum has popped up in London to mark the 25th anniversary of the original Jurassic Park movie. Now TV installed the 25-foot, 330-pound statue in character as Dr. Ian Malcolm. It shows him in a scene in the 1993 movie, open-shirted and reclining. The films and Goldblum don't have any specific connections to London, but that doesn't seem to bother the fans who are already flocking to the statue.
Wow. This is
apparently hashtag Jurassic Jeff.
That was the thing?
Yeah. So if you want to talk about it.
Did you tweet that? Did you tweet hashtag Jurassic Jeff? Are you a Jurassic Park man?
I am, but that's
a lot. That's pretty overwhelming. But I do think we should go.
What?
I do think we should go.
Yeah, we should.
Throw it on Instagram.
London next. All right, 30 Minutes of Sports is next. Have a good night.